Your rough drafts of your memoir scenes are always going to be wordy. They can always be clarified, tightened up. And I want to show you in this video how that's done in the revision stage. Do not worry about this at the drafting stage. We can deal with this later on. Get all your ideas on the page. Sometimes that's called the zero draft or free writing. Just getting it all out. Later on, you can impose some order on it. You can start to tighten things up. And really, when you're doing the editing later, you're just trying to make it a little easier for the reader to process what you're saying, reduce the distance between you and the reader. And that comes in the editing process. So let me show you how that's done. So I'm going to read this paragraph out first. It's about a basketball game, high school basketball game. And then I'll just edit it right on the screen and show you how you can kind of tighten that up. There was lots of screaming and cheering in the gymnasium. We could hear chants for both teams fill the air. Our cheers were louder, since it was a home game. The loud cheers didn't help, though. We were losing. As I ran clean past my ominous opponent, I heard her swear at me. I brushed it off. People get competitive during games. As I turned to catch the ball, I caught sight of my opponent pushing one of my teammates. Neither of them even had the ball. Furious, I continued dribbling down the court, passing to another teammate. Out of nowhere, my opponent bulldozed her, sprawling her across the floor. No foul. It's a really good action scene, but it's a little unstructured. The sentences are a bit wordy. There's a little bit of excess there. So let's start combining these things, making it a little bit tighter, and then I'll read it out. We could say screams, cheers, and chants for both teams fill the gymnasium. Then we don't even need this sentence, right? Just delete that. Our cheers were louder. Since it was a home game, that's fine. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the was and the were, but we'll leave that for now. The loud cheers didn't help, though. I think I spoke that instead of seeing it there. We were losing. As I ran clean past my ominous opponent, I would prefer not to make this a dependent clause. See, this is a dependent clause that depends upon the actual sentence right here. This requires the reader to hold this meaning in their mind before they process the second part of the sentence. So I would say, I ran clean past, and then let's make her more active. She swore at me. I brushed it off. Semicolon. People get competitive during games. As I turned to catch the ball, I caught sight of my opponent. Why not just say, I saw my opponent push one of my teammates. Neither of them even had the ball. Furious, why do we need continued? You say, I dribbled down the court, passing to a teammate. Out of nowhere, my opponent bulldozed her, sprawling her across the floor. No foul. So let me read this, just some edits there. Screams, cheers, and chants for both teams fill the gymnasium. Let's make that filled, since it's past tense. Our cheers were louder since it was a home game. The loud cheers didn't help, though. We were losing. I ran clean past my ominous opponent, and then she swore at me. I brushed it off. People get competitive during games. As I turned to catch the ball, I saw my opponent push one of my teammates. Now this could be, we'll leave that. Neither of them even had the ball. Furious, I dribbled down the court, passing to a teammate. Out of nowhere, my opponent bulldozed her, sprawling her across the floor. No foul. So see how I've tightened that up? It's a little smoother. We didn't devote so much time here to the sounds. Combine those two sentences that had the screams, cheers, and chants. And then some little tightening up here. I focused on her running past the opponent. So that's how you can kind of tighten it up, make it a little smoother, a little easier for the reader to process.